Well, I think actually to start off with, I just want to say thank you firstly. Obviously, like I told you when I asked you a month ago to do this, you're someone I look up to in a way you can't even imagine yourself.
Thank you.
I'm incredibly impressed by and equally proud of you as a person and as a founder. And you're someone I ask myself oftentimes when I have to make decisions for Malhub. I oftentimes ask myself, like, what do I think Abdullah would do? I know it might
Really?
sound silly, but yeah,
Really?
absolutely. Absolutely. This week I had a
Thank
moment
you.
like that with Renee, where my thought was, okay, what would Abdullah do in this situation? I really respect you
That's
so much. Like, I've known about Lucidya since 2016 when Brene started working with you guys, when he started connecting with you guys,
yeah.
2017, 2018, 2019, around those times. And I've obviously just followed your story ever since. Like Renee made those initial hires for you guys before I even understood what you guys did. And now having you guys as a client is awesome. And I actually partnered with a guy that also just started his service-based company quite recently. And throughout the pitch, I actually asked him, like, do you actually have any clients? And he said, no, like we would be his first client. And just because you took a chance on us, I took a chance on him as well, like literally in the same way as well. And that was another moment of what would Abdullah do in this situation. So I just want to start by just expressing my gratitude to you. And the reason why you're the first person I want to do this with is because I think that you have much more to share with the founders around you, with your peers, and with up and coming founders in the kingdom, and also the rest of MENA. And I think your story, your background is really what I think it could motivate, and I think it could help a lot of people. So this session is absolutely about you. It's not about Malhub. It's not about talent acquisition. It's not about hiring. It's about Abdullah Asiri, and then a little bit about Lucidya as well, and kind of your view of a lot of different things. So we're going to go through lots of different questions that I have, but it's really just a conversation. Like the questions are kind of there as a guide, and that's why I also sent you that preparation doc. I didn't want to ask you something that you haven't really thought about in a while, but I know as someone with as much wisdom as you've got a lot to share. But for this session, be super comfortable, be yourself, be relaxed. This is my first time doing this. I hope you like the setup. I actually put the buffalo head behind me because I
Oh
thought
yeah,
you'd
I
like
see
it.
it. I see it. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Before anything, just let me comment on what you said, Frankie, because like there are a lot of things to say about what you mentioned at the beginning of your intro. The first thing is gratitude. Like, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for feeling that. Thank you for saying what you said, Frankie. It means a lot. It means a lot because of two things. It means a lot. Number one, because that one of my really important goals is to make an impact on this world, and to see that at least there's a one person got positively impacted about of what I do. It gives me energy. It gives me fuel, right? To because it validates that I'm doing the right thing that I wanted to do, and so that's the first reason. Second reason is because you are such a great person yourself, Frankie, and you are a person that I truly respect. And from it's coming from someone like you, because you're such a genuine person, and I'm not just saying this on your face. I always say this, and you're such a passionate, dedicated person, and coming from a person like you and smart, obviously, that also means a lot. So thank you, and I. And actually a big part of of me believing in you and all that. By the way, it's you, Frankie. I wouldn't really. I give chances, but we wouldn't have this long relationship, business-wise, together if you guys are not doing great. And I know how hard it is for a founder to start a company, and also service company, and the company that service customers for different country, different language, different culture. That by itself is very difficult. And on top of all that, you do it remotely as well. So, like, I know how hard. So you have my utmost respect of what you do. So you should be proud of yourself, Frankie. Really.
Yeah. That's incredibly high praise, man. That's incredibly high praise. I really appreciate it, Abdullah.
You deserve
Awesome.
it.
I wanna move the conversation back to you.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
really good at
sure.
taking compliments, so I want to focus on
Me
you. And
neither. Me neither. Like I was thinking of my facial expression. Like, what should I, how can I take this compliment? Really, like, should I? But yeah,
yeah,
neither do I. That's why. But anyways, yes, definitely, I'm here to talk. By the way, I did not read your guide. No offense, but
no, that's
because
all
like
right. Yeah,
I saw like the instructions, but then when I saw the questions, because the theme of this channel or this basically this talk is basically it's a riverside talk, maybe like sitting together and talking and chatting,
yeah,
and that's why it's better to not to be prepared.
yeah,
Actually, it's
yeah,
better to just talk with a friend,
yeah,
chatting, and that's why I decided not to read anything. I just let it,
yeah.
just let it be.
Just flow. Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. I did, like I said, I didn't want you to prep. I just wanted you to think about stuff because you're a guy with a
yeah.
lot going on here, and I
Oh
know that
yeah.
there's a lot of things happening around you. But I'm very happy, and another reason why I respect you so much. So I want to talk about. I want to start with kind of what, like everything before this. You're from Jeddah. Tell me more. Tell me more about that.
So I'm from Jeddah, yes, a city that I'm really in love with, and I'm proud that I live there. I would say a long part of my life, but the part that not a lot of people know that I'm from a lot of other parts in Saudi. So
Mm.
like I was born actually, and my childhood was in the east side of the country in Khobar, and then I moved there from there to Taif, and then from Jeddah, and then US, and then Kaus, which is Tuwal, and then Jeddah, and then Riyadh. So I'm from everywhere basically,
Yeah.
and but the good thing is I'm grateful that I'm from all these parts of because it gives you the openness basically that you can accept people, you can have an open mind and accept a lot of different views and all.
Act.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Who were you before this? Who were you before Lucidia?
I was a student, not before Lucidya, like before my whole like journey. Because before Lucidya, I was a founder as well. As a founder in another company called Waqut, was founder and
Mm.
CEO, and before that, another company called Shopmate. But before all that, I was student, so no experience between jumping from a student to this crazy life.
What was so obviously at the very beginning, before starting all these different businesses, being a student of life and living everywhere, learning all the time. What did kind of how did you define success? What was your family's, if you could even think about that? What is your family's definition or view of what success looked like when you were growing up?
That's a very deep question, and
Yeah.
see, this one of the things that maybe people don't talk about, like explicitly. Like I didn't ask my parents what success would look like for what, and but maybe like it was a common sense for people around me, people where we're from. Is success for me would be a high-paying job in a respectable place, and then with a family man, like having wife and kids as well. Um, that would be a success in their definition, which I don't really disagree with. I think that if the person achieved that,
Mm.
but I would replace the word job with income. If a person would have an income, a stable income, and he's a family, and the most importantly, if he's really, really happy, then that's a success that I see.
Mm.
Happiness, if we reach, the place where you have a peace of mind, not necessarily very happy, but you have a peace of mind. I think that by itself is success, because money is not an important, for not important for all people, and maybe it shouldn't be important for all people. There are other important things in life, so it depends on the person's priorities, basically, to reach
Yeah.
happiness.
Absolutely. You mentioned having an impact earlier as well. Where does that come from? Was that more from the family side and your background, or is having an impact something that kind of the importance of that you developed yourself through time?
Another deep question. I love this conversation so far. So I haven't thought about it, but when I think about it now, I think the impact is because I think every person wants to you work hard on yourself, Frankie, right? You go
Yeah.
to school, you study, and you build yourself and all, and you want all that to be for something. And you start to feel what that is basically. And um, for me, if I leave impact on people, it means that I'm a good person, that the work I did on myself, it's paying off because I'm benefiting another human being, which benefiting another human being, it says a lot about me, as a capable person. So it's like a validation that I'm actually really becoming, a good person to life, to society, to the world, someone that can actually, and this nice word that Elon Musk is using is someone who contributes to society. So for me, maybe it's the KPI of contribution is the impact that you leave on
Yeah.
people, and how many people and how impactful you leave on people. Maybe that shows how much contribution you're doing to the world. The beautiful world that you do you actually live in.
You're someone who plans a lot and someone with really good, I want to say, foresight. At least everything that I've experienced from you has, like, I can clearly see that there's planning and foresight into it. At least the things that we think we can control, or the things we do control. I remember the first time I met you at the office. Your son came in and you asked me, like, after I interacted with your boy, you asked me, like, what did I think of him, like what skills should he develop and
Yes.
stuff like that. How would you kind of prep him for the life that's ahead? Like, what kind of advice would you give him to show him what your view of success looks like, so that he can follow that, but with his own journey going forward?
I think, but listen, I will say what I have in mind. But one thing is very important to mention is that in life, things easier said than done.
Mm.
So whatever I'm gonna be saying, that doesn't mean that it's something that people should adopt, or that my son should do right now. It's something that they should try to achieve. One of those things is try to not try your best to live the moment, like live today, now, this moment.
Mm.
Don't worry too much about the future, and don't be stuck in the past. Just what happened in the past happened. We cannot go and change it. Even if you think about it for 2 days, 2 months, you cannot go back and change it. But you can do one thing only, is to learn from it. So if you are thinking about your past, the only way you should think about it is what I should have done differently. So I'm not in that bad situation. Or if I did something good, what did I do that made me do that achievement or reach that success? That's the only thing. It's a lesson learned from the past. Focus on your present, because it's life goes very fast, really. And when you reach your last moments in life, you only have your memories, right? That's the only thing that you have, and you want to have good memories. You want to have good memories. You want to be surrounded by good people, and so focus on your present, and don't worry about too much about the future, because if you think about it, again, I'm a big believer of the word khira, which is I'm a Muslim, and in Islam, it means that whatever happened for you, it's for the best. It's better for you. So always have that optimistic view on the future in life, that whatever happens, it's going to be the best for me. And by the way, if you think about it, if you really believe in this concept, if you believe in the law of attraction, then you will be attracting good things to your life, because everything that you're optimistic, you think about good things will happen to you, so you're going to attract good things. And also, if anything bad happens to you, you'll always try to find the silver lining. You force yourself to think. So net, you will be more peace. You'll be a more peaceful person. If only that if my son or the listeners would really adopt and follow, I think only that by itself would solve, I think, 50% to 7% of life's hardships, I believe.
Yeah. So what you're saying practically is basically what you put your mind on, what you put your focus on, the voice inside your head. If you manage to train that up to see the silver lining when things are bad, and obviously attract the positive things, that's the practical application. Or what else would you say is a practical application of that?
So one thing that I I have a habit. I have a reminder every night, like around 10 p.m. A reminder is be grateful. Try to be grateful in life.
Yeah.
So every time this alarm goes off, I remember that I need to think. So I force myself to think of the good things happened to me today.
Yeah.
I think this programs my mind and this wires my mind to start think positively. Start all the time to think of good things. So that's one thing that I do. A practical, and another thing is and it's also for maybe for more relevant to Muslims, and because I pray every day, and when I pray, we usually recite Quran. So there is something that we usually say in the surah, the first one. It's also about khair, about being grateful. And so I always remind myself when I read that, I don't just read it. I read it and I kind of think about it, like, and I remind myself that I need to be thankful of what I have. So these things help me basically to be really grateful of even the bad things. When the bad things even happen, I start to have, alhamdulillah, a good habit that anything bad happened, I start to force myself every time I remember myself. I force myself to find what's good for me in that situation. This became a habit of me in the past couple of years, and you have no idea how much that helped me to be a happier person and less stressed person, especially for a person like me who have a very busy, very stressful life. This by itself, this removes a lot of stress.
I love that. I've never heard a practical application of that. So I'll ask you a fireball question. What were you grateful for last night at 10 p.m.?
Yeah. So when that happened, I was grateful for the ability to play with my kids at the mornings before I go to work. Um, uh, some people take this for granted. The fact that that they have kids and they have the ability to wake up to see their kids
Spend time with
before they
them.
go to work, and the ability and to spend time 5 minutes, 10 minutes. People easily can take that for granted, and that's what came to my mind yesterday. That that actually I should be grateful that I have this. I would call a luxury, really, and it's because it's not a lot of people they have that. So should be grateful for this. So that's what came to my mind last night.
No, I like that very much. I don't want to say I love that the whole time, but I really do. That's obviously the point why you're in this conversation in the first place. It's very hard to be unhappy, or it's very hard to be upset about something if you remember what to be grateful for. Like if you remember the stuff that's around you that you're grateful for,
Yes.
etc.
Yes.
Like I'm turning 30 this year, and last night I was actually having a
Ah.
conversation with a friend like about turning 30. Like when you're younger in high school, like there's so many things you want to do by 30, and some of it's silly, like driving a Lamborghini or something like that, and some of it's real concrete things. But I just thought back, like I'm working with some of the coolest people in the world. Not even clients. I'm talking about like my team. I'm working from
Mm.
home. I get to spend time with my wife every day. There's so many people I know, my peers, my friends. Some of them might be earning more, some of them might be earning less, but they don't have that. And remembering what to be grateful for daily is amazing. I hope more people add that reminder to their calendars. Be grateful for something. Think about something that you're grateful for. But I'm gonna get to
Yeah.
life balance a bit later because I have a lot more questions about it because I think that's where most people will learn the most. But I want to talk a bit about
Yeah.
the Lucidya origin story. So what was happening in your life when Lucidya started? The most of the focus is going to be on Lucidya because that is by far your most
Yeah.
successful venture, right? So that is
Yes.
like that is what you're really known for in the market by people that maybe don't know Abdullah Asiri as the person but know about the company. So what was happening in your life when Lucidya started?
So so then I was running a company called Waqood. So it was more of a venture studio kind of company, and I really wanted to do something with AI. My undergrad was in computer engineering, and I was the lead of our AI IEEE robotics team in the university. So I was involved in building robots, basically, which had an AI as a brain. So that was my first real interaction and on AI. So I was fascinated by what it can do. So the first company I started after I graduated was an AI company in 2011. And that was too early, back then for AI. It was too early also, and not only in AI, but also in Saudi Arabia, because I moved from the US to Saudi and started the company there. So there was no VCs, no entrepreneurship ecosystem as well, and no talent, a lot of problems. But I was, foolish enough to start that then, 2011, and then it did not go very well, and I had to shut it down in 2013. And it was, one of the biggest heartbreak of my life. I was really sad for weeks. Really disappointed, because that's when you go from here to zero, really. Because before then, I was celebrity in my field, because it was the first Saudi that actually have a smartphone application, but then I had to shut it down, and it was very humbling experience, really, for me. But anyway, so
sorry, Abdullah, why?
I want to
ask, why did you have to shut it down? Was it because of the gap in money, the capital, people? What was the reason?
Yeah. All the above, really. Okay. I did all of the mistakes that you can think of. Number one is access to fund. No, we raised a seed round from angel investors, and then we wanted to do Series A. Back then it was $1 million, 4 million real, and we found a VC, one of the first, and we signed and everything, but did not go through after a few years. But then also picking the wrong partners, the wrong partners with us from the beginning. They were not really the best partners in terms of investors. Idea timing was too early. Business model was really not that great. Talent, a lot of really problems. But anyways, fast forward. We started Waqood, which is the second company in Venture Studio, and then I still wanted to build something with AI, and I'm really passionate about AI and what it can do, and I'm also passionate about the fact that I want to build something that goes from Saudi globally. So that's when something happened, and then Lucidya ideas came to my mind, and then that's when I knew that actually this might be it. This problem that can only be solved through real AI, and that if I solve it right, I can actually not only grow very big in Saudi, but I can go globally. And so that's basically that's how things happened. I was managing Waqood, the venture studio. The idea of Lucidya came to there was certain conversation with someone, and then the idea came to my mind, and then I decided to dedicate myself for Lucidya.
What was the conversation? Who was it with?
It was with one of our co-founders in Lucidya. His name is Hatim Kamli. Maybe you know him from Risal. He's the founder CEO now of Risal. So back then, we had an interesting relationship, because he was at the venture studio Waqood. We were incubated in an incubator called Badr, government-based incubator, and Hatim was actually the director of that incubator.
Okay.
So basically, we had conversation together every morning, because he's a very smart guy, and we click, and we always to hang out a lot. And then he told me, because he's also, his background is in marketing, digital marketing, and he told me that a lot of there are marketing agencies that actually hire people only to label things manually. I was like, well, what do you mean? He was like, so there are these kind of new trend in market where brands, because social media was on the rise in 2014, 2015. The idea actually was 2014. So 2014, 2015, social media was on the rise. And brands, they really wanted to basically to analyze what people are saying about them. But the only way that they can do that is to hire an army of people who can go manually, collect these social media posts, put them in Excel, and then read them and put a label, which is this is a positive thing, or this is a negative thing. And then sub-label, which is why this is negative, what's, the element. I was like, Hatim, this can be done by AI.
Yeah.
I mean, why humans are involved? And, but of course, this was 2014, so AI was not really, I think, then. And that's what, what started the conversation. when like I was really surprised that, really people are doing this manually. Like, we are in 2014. I did some research, and I found that actually there are, very successful companies globally that do this. And the only reason why they are not really popular in Saudi Arabia is that their AI is actually doesn't know Arabic. It's not trained on Arabic data. And so basically it fails in that very core reason, very core value of the product. That's why these products are not in the region. And that's when the light bulb moment that happened. I was like, okay, well, now I see a successful business model, a successful company in that field, doing great in the US and Europe and all that. And they already, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. They already have everything, how they market themselves, how they price themselves, how they position themselves, everything is there. What I just need to do is not just to build, the software, but what's really important is to build the AI model that actually, does understand Arabic. And that's basically where the whole thing started. Now, one thing maybe not everyone knows is that it's one of the most difficult things to do actually is to build an AI that understands Arabic, because Arabic language is very fragmented. If you have so many different dialects, each dialect even has sub-dialects. And when I say dialect, I say like really different way of saying things. Not only like the sounds, but the way that we write things, even the grammar, the spelling, everything is different. So it's like solving 15 different languages. Also, so that's from like building in the AI, but also then to be able to do that, also you need to have the right data, basically, to do this. And the Arabic data was not there as well. So it was a very hard problem, basically, that, told me that if I solve this problem, then I can build a barrier, basically, for the company that no one can enter the market with. So this is basically how it started.
Amazing. You mentioned something earlier. You said one specific thing. I want to go deeper into what you just said, but just to take it back a little bit, you said you were working with AI back then, before there was the hype, before OpenAI, before these companies, etc. And you mentioned something specific. You said that you saw what AI could do. What could AI do back then? Just out of interest sake. I mean, I was in high school back then, so I had no idea about AI. I'm one of those people, but what could it do back then?
Yeah. So back then, one of the most typical thing that you actually witness maybe every day is when you go to Amazon, and when you look at products, and you have like a section called similar products or recommendation. That's AI. So these kind of things. So recommendation systems, there is AI, but also classification as well. Which again back then, I think one of the things that AI was doing is actually text analysis. It's text segmentation. It used to do, but the most common, I would say, that used with the recommendation system.
Only recommendation systems. That was kind of what it was like back then.
That was, I would say, the most used application of AI for regular consumer like me and you.
Yeah.
Of course, there were usage, but for for businesses, they use it for analytics, as I told you, text analysis, but for a regular person like me and you, and then you wouldn't know this AI. You just know that there's something recommended to you, and it's basically through AI. And also, same thing in social media when you see. Back then, maybe they had, I'm not sure which is like the For You sections or, recommended posts. So the recommendation part was the most commonly used part of AI. There are other parts that, again, they are not really, which is, one of them are actually, voice, transcription was some part that was being done by AI. So basically Siri, in that sense, that transcription, part of Siri, but I would say the most, amazing one, because transcription was really not great back then. Amazing one was really recommendation.
You mentioned earlier about Arabic being the barrier and being your, I want to say, advantage right now in KSA or as a business in this market. I actually once experienced this. My first time, usually wherever I am in the Arab world, people assume I'm from there. So when I go to Egypt, people assume I'm Egyptian. They call me Al-Masri. When I'm in Saudi, they assume I'm Saudi. My first trip to Riyadh, I was actually in the Uber, and I gave the guy directions to the apartment that I was staying in, and I spoke in Egyptian Arabic, and the guy thought, like, he looked at me and he just kept quiet, and he wondered, why is this guy speaking Egyptian dialect in Arabic. A lot of people would just kind of give up at that problem. What made you decide it was worth it? Like building through that issue, building through that problem.
Exactly. The reason why, because it was very, very hard to do. And number one, it's a great challenge for myself. I love solving challenges. I love solving problems, and for me that was a big problem that I can test myself. I can see if I can solve or not.
Yeah.
And the rewards are high, because if you solve that problem, then you have a moat. You have a competitive advantage that no one can actually compete with you. So that's why, and I know that the market is big as well. There is a demand in the market. I did actually, before I started Lucidya, I did like an in-person market research when I went and I met potential customers, and I was asking them, like, guys, you're using this like an international products. What you don't like about them? And they always say that, we bought them with hundreds of thousands of dollars, so that we can cut through the noise of social media and know what the hell is happening, and we can get that. And I was asking, like, why keep these solutions? And they were saying that at least we can get the number of posts that we can get, but you cannot get to the analysis. So I validated the problem is big, and I went there and actually I met the competitors or the to-be competitors to Lucidya back then. I sat with them and I asked them, why don't you guys try to solve the Arabic AI problem? Why you invest in Arabic and you solve this problem? And every time the answer was the same: is that the problem is too hard to solve while the ROI is not big. So basically, for them, the Arabic market it's not big enough for them to invest those resources in R&D. For them, if they spend that potential R&D money in sales and marketing in the US or Europe, they will get more returns, basically.
Yeah.
And also the Arabic world are fragmented, so they need to sell here. They need, and so long story short, they're not interested.
Yeah.
For valid reasons for them, but for me, this is my main market. Yeah. This is where I'm from. This is where my people. I actually want brands to use solutions like Lucidya to understand me as a consumer, to give me better service. I want that, and I want that for my wife, for my kids. And so I also, I'm not also generating money, but I'm solving a problem that I'll be, actually solving a problem for me as a consumer. Yeah. So, and I really know that us, like Arabs, are as a people, we are famous for being generous, and we love to serve as well. So the act or the intention of providing good customer experience from brands are there. They're not equipped. That's the only problem. They're not equipped in the right way for them to do that. And so the intention is there, the principle is there, but they cannot do it. So that's another reason why I was like, if I solve it, I'm gonna hit the jackpot. And that's why I started.
How did you know the timing was right this time?
Timing was not right that time. It was too early, even. Actually, it was too early. I admit. But look, you cannot time everything perfectly. I don't think that skill exists. Even Elon Musk, since then, he had, Tesla, and since then he had. So there are things that, you should only believe in the trajectory. You should believe that the trajectory is upward trajectory, that, that you're going to be reaching a place eventually within, reasonable number of years, basically.
Yeah.
But you cannot be like, I'm exactly at that time. So in 2016, we incorporated in 2016, we started before that. We started in 2014, 2015, but it was too early because there was no actually talent to build these AI solutions in Saudi back then. Worlds were different, and it was very hard to find these talents. It was very hard to actually to sell Saudi AI, solution in Saudi Arabia to large enterprises and government entities who are used to the Microsoft of the world, the Googles, the SAPs. You go there, you're one of the, if not the first, Saudi tech actually that goes there, and not only tech, and but also AI, which by itself it needs a lot of education and awareness. So that was also too early. So it wasn't really timed perfect. But the good thing is, when when AI became mainstream, we were there ready.
You already had.
Now
something.
we are one of the. Yeah, I would have the brand now. Lucidya, today, Alhamdulillah, all customers, they come to us. We don't, because we've been there in the market for 10 years. We are one of the oldest AI companies in the whole MENA region. So when the AI became mainstream, everyone is saying, okay, we heard about this Lucidya company, AI company, that actually been doing this for a very long time, and they have track record of serving all these, banks and telecoms and retails, and so they know how to do AI, definitely, because they were there before it became AI. So let's talk to them. And they talk to us, and they see all the success stories, and they see the readiness. So we were ready before this happened. So that's the benefit of starting bits too early.
Yeah. I think looking back in hindsight, I mean, I'm a spectator. I'm from the outside. It kind of does look like everything happened at the right time. I mean, you started building a bit earlier, like you said. There's an advantage to it. But also, like, KSA went through its biggest changes ever, whilst Lucidya was being built and growing. And I think the market changes back in 2017, 2018 is really what led to a lot of the things that you guys are doing now to be possible in the first place. It sounds crazy to me, though, that people back then would say, like companies back then would say the Arab market is just not big enough for us to solve this problem. Like, that to me sounds like a mind-blowing thing, speaking to so many founders and people on a daily basis that want to move to KSA or that want advice in starting to work or consult or contract in the kingdom, but also obviously the greater GCC region as well. Like, it's mind-blowing that company said that. What was your reaction?
Yeah, and this actually...
Sorry.
Let me just comment on this because actually you are right. In hindsight, if you think about it, it's crazy that, Saudi Arabia was not looked at as a very lucrative market, a market that companies want to be in. When you see today that companies are competing to enter the Saudi markets, ServiceNow, for example, their regional HQ in Saudi, not even in UAE, or not Saudi became really, and this really tells you that we in Lucidya, we are at the right country at the right time, and because we're living through, the way I see it, it's one of a historical transformation for a country. The transformation that happened in Saudi Arabia in such short time, from where we were to where we are today, the big difference in that short amount of time, that is something that really, really magical, and it's a miracle. I see it as a miracle, really. And I'm so grateful, by the way, to a decision I made in 2017. I was seriously thinking and considering to move to the US, to go back to the US and move and just relocate Lucidya permanently to the US markets. And I was facing issues with funding back then, and the market was really not encouraging, I would say, and the US was there, and I had an opportunity, certain opportunity that I can go there, I can be funded to be there by studying there, and then kind of starting my own thing there as well, by following a scholarship. But and I went to the US. I stayed 2 months in Silicon Valley trying to assess situations, and then I decided to stay in Saudi. And my thinking is that if I move to the US, yes, the US market is bigger than all that, but Saudi Arabia back then, 2017, was starting the transformation. So I was like, this is the most exciting times for my country, and that's where all the opportunities would be. And if my country really needs their people, it will be during this time of transformation. So I want to be there to help. I want to be there also to benefit from opportunities. So I decided to stay, and for me, alhamdulillah, this is one of the best decisions that I made.
Yeah, that's an incredible decision to make.
One of the things I'm grateful for.
I'm sure the first couple of years, like 2017, 2018, would probably have been much easier in the US, but I think, like, I just think the support you guys have received, and it's 100% true what you said. Like the changes in Saudi have been historical. Like I personally don't know about any other country that's gone through such a radical transformation in such a short amount of time. Like obviously you can talk about the UAE that went through a massive transformation in like 30 years. And you can talk about a lot of other countries, but Saudi like comes to mind first when you think about development, growth, changes. There's problems that come with it, and there's so many opportunities that come with it, and just ways to evolve
Yeah.
and adapt. And people in Saudi adapt so quickly. It is incredible. Tell me, you've mentioned Elon Musk a couple of times, like specifically at name. Is he someone you look up to personally?
Uh, Look, Elon Musk is genius.
Mm.
No one can say anything about that, and he's one of the most successful entrepreneurs in history. Uh, so
I think he's
I
the
respect him a
I
lot.
think he's the most successful entrepreneur in history, just based on winning capitalism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, you can't think about it this way. It depends on your definition.
yeah,
That's why I said one of them,
yeah.
because it depends on the definition of the person. But anyways, incredible person, and definitely I get inspired by a lot of things that he's doing. Um, uh, do I look up to him? Not entirely, no. There are things that I get inspired by, but there are things that I'm not really impressed by. So that's the answer, and this is actually my way of looking at people.
Mm.
Um, I'm a big believer that everyone has his own story. Everyone has his own basically ways of doing things, and I use I have here
Leo and
actually
Steve.
different characters. Leo, Steve Jobs, and Joker as well, and there's also Thomas Shelby there. So there are people. Everyone has different character, but there are things that you can be inspired by each of these characters. Steve Jobs, same thing as Elon Musk. Like I respect Steve Jobs; he's one of the greatest. But again, not everything. There are things that I can learn from, I can
Mm.
be inspired with, but not look up to. Look, because look up to it means like in everything, but not. I handpick really. So that's my long answer about Elon
Yeah,
Musk.
specific parts about people. Tell me, Abdullah, you obviously didn't build Lucidya alone, right? So how did you find the people that you started with? Like, how did you decide who's the right people, who's not the right people? I mean, similar to what you just said, like you took a specific part of Steve Jobs' philosophy and his way, and a specific part of Elon Musk. How did you go about seeing those things in people when you just started out with Lucidya?
I think I'm lucky, and Lucidity, because the partners that I picked are the right ones, the ones that are really. Actually, basically, it depends on what I needed. It's really, it's not me being nice. It's not me being just. It's just me being knowing what I have, what I don't have, what I don't want to work on, and what the other people around me, what complement skills that they have, and then if we share the same set of values, and this is what's really important for me, if we share share set of values, then that would be a partner that I want to work with. Now, definitely there are partners that I tried to attract to join me as a co-founder, as a CTO. Before Zuhair Khayat, by the way, the current CTO co-founder, before Zuhair, I tried with two people. I failed. I really failed miserably. But for me, I say that's for the best, because it ended up that they're not the right people actually from fitness. So basically, it's what do I want at that time, because each time it requires different sets of skills, and what the other person can offer, and if I am aligned with that person in terms of values and culture. If yes, then it becomes very. It becomes an easier conversation
Mm.
with the person. So this is basically like from principle point of view.
Yeah. Zuhair is a superstar. He's a great co-founder. Why did it not work with the previous two co-founders?
Um, so the first one basically, like both actually misalignment of incentives. Really, that's the right word maybe, because they both wanted things or wanted different things.
Like?
and they want. So the first person actually like really did not, who was not really a long-term thinker. Like he wanted, a quick win, quick, financial benefit, I would say, in the next couple of years, which is not the case when you build a company, especially, AI tech companies, SaaS
Mm.
companies in Saudi. You need to have the stamina to stay longer amount of years. So when I like found that is his way of thinking, of course, it becomes clear on his decision making. The way that he wants things to go, the way that he deals with things. That's when I knew that he's not our person. So I'm glad that we parted the way at the beginning before things got even
How
serious.
long did that take?
Second one,
Sorry, Abdullah, how long did that first one take?
a few months, 2, 3 months.
Quick.
Yeah, it was quick. And then the second person, he's a great genius person, really great person, and but again, for me, I I I'm a big believer of the word focus. That you need, when you want to be successful, you need to focus. And I wanted someone who can focus with me to be fully dedicated to what we build. That what we build is not just a plan A or plan B, and there are no plans. That it is the
This
only
is it.
plan.
Yeah.
Because this is me. This is the way I see it. I don't have plan B. This is my only. This is my only option. This is my only way. This is my only path forward. I don't have backup plans. I don't have safety nets. I don't have. So I wanted someone basically with the same mindset. And like I thought, he had the same mindset. I'm not saying the other mindset is wrong, by the way. I still respect the guy, and he's again a genius guy, and now he's a really successful guy as well. But again, for him, it was more of like, one of few options that he's trying to see if it's gonna work. Then he's gonna commit more. If he's not working, he's gonna commit minimally, and this is not, again, set of values. It's not the values that I want. Nothing wrong, but this is not for me.
Yeah.
So when things happened, and there was a situation where it was this commitment was really tested, because sometimes it's easy to say things. It's easy to say I'm committed, but then when action happens, then you are tested. This commitment are tested, and when that happened, I saw that the full commitment and dedication was not there. Simply, then we decided to part ways in a very, by the way, civilized way.
Amicable.
And yeah, and I gave him, I let him keep some of his shares, which he cashed out, and he got a lot of money, which he
Lucky
deserves to.
guy.
But yeah, so
Lucky guy, sure. Okay.
for me, Frankie, I know like a lot of people advise me to do the opposite. To be honest,
Yeah.
that he just stayed for not even a year, and he wasn't really committed, and all that. And for me, I have one rule in my life that if there's a situation where I either be unfair or someone to treat me unfairly, I would prefer to be treated unfairly than to be unfair. That was one of these situations where I was like, it's because you really sometimes not sure, and for me, I just want to sleep peacefully.
Yeah.
And I don't want, fine, if I become a reason for someone to be rich, why not? It's good, actually. If he's working for it or not, that's, between him and himself, but for me, the outcome, I don't mind. And I don't want to be a person where I treat people unfairly. I really don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose to be generous than to be looked at least as unfairly, even if I think that I did fair to be looked at as unfairly.
Absolutely. It's about making yourself the least. It's about being, I think, humble is probably the best way to describe it. You've mentioned in this conversation, you mentioned values, incentives, and obviously overall mindset not being aligned. And I think this is one of the questions that could basically make the most impact for whoever is listening, especially young founders, because co-founder breakups is one of the main reasons startups fail. How do you think a founder like yourself let's say you were giving advice to young Abdullah before co-founders of Lucidya and stuff like that, what is the conversation that you think they should be having with their co-founders that you should have had with your co-founders back then to make sure that this doesn't happen, if there is any conversation you can have beforehand?
Let's just say, and we all just address the elephant in the room. It's gonna be a difficult conversation. It's not one of these conversations that you. It's gonna be a difficult conversation that you have to do. And what is this conversation? Is actually the conversation about expectations. It has to be clear from the beginning. You have to go with the mindset that this is gonna be difficult conversation, might not be the nicest conversation. Let's address expectations across the board. From me, what's my expectation from myself, what I would be doing for this company, and what's my expectation for myself, the reward that I will be getting, and what's my expectation from you as your commitment. And so it's alignment of expectations. Like every person, like we beginning, they should put all the assumptions as well, like a very clear conversation. Let's put all the assumptions on the table. Let's put all the expectation on the table. Let's all discuss them, and let's all make sure that it's aligned, and we also are aligned in vision. And when I say vision, vision is a very stretchy word. Some people are, mean vision different ways. But when I say vision in that context is what do you want to become? And like what success would look like, actually. That's another way of what success would look like for me and for you. Let's agree. Is it to sell the company after 2 years? Is it to be listed after 10 years? Is it so that kind of discussion of what success would look like, that should happen at the beginning.
What if they don't know?
So this is,
I mean, typically founders are pretty young guys in Saudi, at least.
Yes.
The founders are mostly young guys. What if they just don't know?
That's very possible. Actually, that's the most possible thing. I mean, probably they will not know about many of these answers. Maybe they can ask questions, but they're not sure about the answers. And when that happens, then they should consult a mentor or consult someone, basically.
Yeah.
Someone who's been there, done that, an entrepreneur. And nowadays, founders are so lucky in Saudi Arabia. They have no idea, because there is the generation of founders already. People who've been in the market, like myself, I've been in the market for 14 years, and other colleagues that I have, founders of Uniphonic, founders of Fodex, Zed, Sella. There are a lot of successful founders in the market that they can just, and us founders, we love to help each other. They can just pick up the phone and they can just ask. You say, listen, we want to sit with you. We want to know what success should be. What are our options, actually? We don't know the options. And why would this option be better than the other option? So that is the right way. If they don't have experience, they should not assume anything. They can sit with those founders, or they can consult AI.
Yeah.
You can go to Claude or ChatGPT, and they can brainstorm with them, and that's another source of knowledge, because at the end of the day, it's just sharing knowledge. And now LLMs, they have a lot of knowledge. Good knowledge.
Can I just say, Abdullah, like just a quick pause. You're extremely good at this, man. Like, I think that this conversation by itself is going to give a lot of younger guys the exact answers that they're looking for, at least strong guidance into a direction.
I really hope so.
Thank you for that. It's amazing.
I really hope so.
So moving on from the tough questions to even tougher questions, what's the most expensive mistake you guys made at Lucidya in the first 2 years? And so it doesn't need to be money. It can be time. It could be trust. It could be friendships, momentum, family, whatever it is. What was your most expensive mistake looking back now?
I think there's one thing that's a mistake that if we changed it, or if we did not do it, things would be in a different way. Maybe we would be where we are maybe earlier. It's focusing basically on very specific segments of customers when we start. When we started, we were focusing on all businesses, small, medium, and large, different verticals, and It wasn't only lack of experience, but it was actually because we were not sure yet which market to go with. We wanted to test and all that. So the product was built at the beginning as a generic product that meets the needs of different, not very specific customer. So we reached product market fit after a very long time. That's the conclusion. We reached product market fit after maybe, I think, 5 years. Because we were building bits and pieces for every vertical. But when we reached the product market fit, we were fit for the most important verticals. If we changed it, and if we focused at the beginning on just one specific vertical that we studied very well, and we built specifically for that vertical, we would have reached product market fit for that vertical. That would put us in the right place to the second vertical, and then we would have grown to where we are faster. So the mistake was maybe not to plan go-to-markets in a very, I would say, research-driven, data-driven, strategic way. Which, by the way, this is a classical mistake that founders do. And I still see, like I was with a founder for a few weeks ago, and he told me the same thing. He's a founder of a new company, and he told me, and again, it's a B2B company, and he told me that he was actually saying that, Abdullah, what I found out that, markets, it's things, building companies it's easier than what people say. I was like, in what sense? He said, you don't need to have a strategy, you just go and sell. And I was like, no, please, I've done this before. It doesn't work. Focus on one and I told him why, I told him everything. I told him, listen, for that specific founder, maybe he thought that in his way is the right way. My part actually is just to say, it's not, it's my part. It's not, so it's to just share knowledge. But yeah, so that's the most expensive one.
Yeah. You, in the beginning of the call, when I said that you are someone I go back to think, what would you do quite often in that first conversation in your office? I told you about what the idea of Malhab is, because back then, I'm sure you remember, we were still working on personal emails, right? Like we didn't have money to get like business emails.
Yeah.
And I told you that I want to focus purely on startups and scale-ups. And you got so excited about that because we had that focus. So we want to focus on one area.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many times, probably 15 plus times, we've been approached by or had the opportunity to work with corporates instead. And every single time I've said no because of that conversation, because how you told me, focus, like just focus. And if you focus to these people, you take your time, you show that there's value in this, then you'll grow and it will happen. And that's another one of those, what would Abdullah do moments that happen quite frequently, is just that focus into that. When I asked the question though about most expensive mistake ever, you did say you're going to give me the one that's relevant to this conversation. Give me the one you thought about first that's not relevant to this conversation.
Okay, so wrong hires, basically, to like a wrong hire mistake that we kept for too long in the company.
Co-founder level, or
we didn't
like leadership level?
No. Yeah, more of a leadership level. So yeah, and it is expensive because of basically, obviously, opportunity costs. If we got another person more capable, or if we let this person go faster, then we would have got the right person, and would have things. But again, I always say that's khira, which means it's a bit for the best. I'm sure that there's a good reason why I did that mistake. Now, I'm not sure what is it now. I need to think about it, but I'm sure there's a good reason. Right. So mistakes, I see them as maybe as a step forward in the right direction, but I don't know that it's really a step in the right direction.
You obviously, when you guys started off, you mentioned Zuhair, the technical co-founder. I'm assuming you were in charge, like you were basically doing the sales back then, right? Back when you guys just started.
Yeah. So basically, the kind of roles and responsibility, Zuhair was doing engineering, which is building the products, and I was doing product management, which is like saying what we need to build exactly and roadmap and all that, because that's my passion. And I was doing everything else
Yeah.
basically, which is sales, customer success, accounting, and HR as well. Until we hired the first account manager, then I was, doing sales and other things, but
Yeah.
it started gradually to change.
How'd you land your first client?
Actually, I'm proud to say that our first client is still a customer
Yeah. Who is it?
after the 10 years. Yes. So it's they used to be called CITC. Now they're called CST, which is the Commission of Space and Telecommunication in Saudi Arabia. So they were the first customers, and how I land them, it was relationships. And that's one of the good things is when it's your third company, then you have a reputation already. Then people know you, they know you from around, from other projects, they kind of trust you. So we didn't have a really product to sell back then. We had just a login page and then just other few pages inside. Really, like,
Yeah.
nothing was working at all. Like, we couldn't even do a demo because I could not log in. I swear to God. And but they trusted my word that things will be fixed, will be developed in a way that they would actually like and use. They trusted me, which I'm grateful for, and we started.
Did you make any promises that you had to figure out if you can deliver on first? Like, what was the
Of course,
conversation like?
of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
of course, man. Of course, you have to do it. You have to do it. So you have actually, to be honest with you, I mean, I think as a founder, like today, we had a really nice meeting with the teams, and I was so glad that our CRO, he have a similar mindset. He was telling his team that guys, listen, um, you know, we should think like founders, and you, you might not have everything today, but but we have a capable team to deliver. So if we don't have today, we can deliver it, and we are, we can trust our team to deliver it. Then we can basically commit to customers. But however, now things are different than before. Before, we didn't have anything. Today, just a few things here and there that we can commit on.
Yeah. You guys have basically built an army
But
team. Yeah.
yeah, but just to clarify, those commitments are CEO
Yeah.
and C-level commitments. Not every employee can commit to customers or things that we might not be able to deliver or we don't want to deliver.
Of course. You had to say that, eh? I would have pinned it in the screen if you
Yeah,
didn't say it no.
no, yeah, because I mean, I hope one day that, one of the team members watches this episode, and then it's not an invitation to overpromise our customers.
Yeah.
It's just, sometimes in the past we used to do it in a way that that makes sense at that time.
Of course. I want to talk about just briefly about fundraising, because obviously we've already spoken about how KSA has changed, how you decided not to go to the US back then. And obviously the market has developed a lot. So I'm going to skip through. I want to just get to kind of the most important thing to someone who would be listening. But what do Saudi investors or Saudi-based investors want to say that they can't really say publicly?
You can't say
They want to
publicly.
say, like, they want to say it to the founders. They want to say it to the market. They want to say, look, guys, just bring this, like, bring this and we'll invest in this, or show us this and we'll invest in that. Because there's obviously like a lot of people giving different kind of advice, and the different markets around the world influence differently how people build. You mentioned earlier going to Claude or ChatGPT, but most of the information when it comes to venture capital and investors is focused on the US market, where capital used to and also does still flow much easier. I mean, the US is the biggest market in the world for a reason. What is the kind of the thing that you've learned as a founder going through tough times, building something that doesn't even exist yet or that hasn't been tried yet for the Arab market specifically? Like, what is your advice to a founder, and from that perspective, from that investor's perspective, like what do they want to see from a founder like yourself?
Different investors, they have different criteria, different opinions. That's but there are common things that they all agree with. The number one is what actually we touched on is full dedication and focus. And I think this is something that they all also they say But if in case some VCs, they don't say that, but that's reality. So if you are a founder, if this is a side hustle, if this is a side project,
Not gonna work.
the
No.
chances that will be funded. No, and rightly so, to be honest, really. So that's one thing, like full dedication and focus. That's very important point. And one other thing that would actually make the decision easier for VCs and investors to invest is coachability, maybe the right word for the founder.
Yeah.
The ability that the founder that can be coached, they can be and humble enough to learn, to hear, and I tell you why. And I tell you why it's very important. It's in Saudi even more than outside Saudi, and this is why in US you get to see like very arrogant founders, but you should not see arrogant founders in Saudi. And the reason why is because founders in the region are still going through uncharted territories.
Yeah.
Not been there, it's something new, it's not very common. So you need as a founder to listen. You need to listen and you need to seek advice, and you need to have that ability to be coached.
To learn.
So yes, to learn, because it's not in the US. It's different. You see a lot of people have done it before. The playbook is there. You don't need to. But in Saudi it's different. You need to have that mindset of learning. It's something new. I need to ask here and there. I need to be humble enough to say that I'm wrong. I'm gonna change course. So also this basically mindset.
Show that basically that you're coachable. What else is there, like from that personal standpoint? Because coachability isn't really something you can put in a pitch deck, right? Can't say, hey guys, we're coachable.
But you did show it. Yeah. Yes. But you need to show that. And listen, in terms of personal, these things you need to. I'm not going to say you need to fake during interviews or during the pitch, but these things will be assist.
Yeah.
So be careful, Mr. Founder. You will be assist.
Yeah.
And your and also credibility. That's another personal thing. Is credibility is, and I see a lot of founders who are actually they think because they are used to pitch and sell customers, they think they can do the same thing for investors. Investors are. Customers are smart, but investors are on a different level, and that's what they do for a living. So you need to be very careful what to say, what not to say to investors. So credibility is a part. Now, in terms of other non-personal, I would say is I always say like 2 or 3 things that very important. Markets, obviously, you need to show that you're solving a real pain in a big market.
Yeah.
That's really, really critical. And you need to show this, and you need to show that you know your market very well, and you know the competition very well, because I see a lot of founders that they say we don't have competition. Actually, that's a bad sign if you don't have competition, because it means your market is too small. That's why there's no competition. Or it means your market is new, which means it's a big risk. Or it means that there are no competition because of good reasons, because there's something wrong. Or there are competition, but you don't know about, or you're too arrogant to say that you have competition. So
where did Lucidya fall on that?
There's
on that spectrum.
No excuse in saying that. Where Lucidya in terms of competition?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously in the beginning you said there was lots.
We don't have competition.
Yeah, exactly. No, so that's why I'm asking.
No, I'm joking. No, we do have competition. As a Lucidya, we have competition, and we need to show this. We need to show that there is a competition, but there are different types of companies. Like we haven't, a competition, but international competition, competition from international companies, they do exist. They do compete with us, with our customers. But I cannot say they are not my competition because I'm local, they're international. No, that's the mindset that you say, okay, we have competition, but my competition, so part of it, they are international, they are local, but the local ones are focusing on this segment, which is just more part of what we do. You need to tell a story.
Yeah.
You need to show that you know your landscape.
Get buy-in into the story, then they'll trust you.
Yeah.
Tell me, Abdullah, obviously today the world is very different to when you guys started off with Lucidya. You've got vibe coding now, non-technical guys like myself, like I can build a demo of something pretty easily or relatively easier. well, much easier than back then, but relatively easy now. There's a lot of debate going on about like bootstrapping versus raising capital. So I'll ask you like this. If you were to start Lucidya from scratch today, let's say the landscape in terms of competitors is the same. You still have lots of big global companies that don't really want to invest into that, but you see this specific gap in the market for Lucidya. Would you raise capital at all? Like, would you try and bootstrap it, or what would you do?
I would raise more capital.
You'd still go for capital.
Yeah, yeah, and I tell you why. Because number one, it speeds up your growth. You don't want your competition to catch your pace. So that's number one, to speed up growth, to allow you to make mistakes faster, so you can learn faster and you
Yeah.
can build faster. So that's number one. Number two is actually it's very something that I just realized in Lucidya is that, and I'm lucky, super lucky that it's happening to me, is that when you fundraise from the right investors, you bring a wider and smarter team with you. Like those investors will become part of your team. They'll help you. They'll think with you. They will open doors for you. They will. So that as well. So today, like I'm very lucky that all the investors that invested in Lucidya, they are great people, great investors. They're helping us, and especially our board members,
Yeah.
which became close friends actually to mine. Like, our board members are now my friends actually, who I learn from. Like we go together and think of things, we strategize. So it's like bringing a talent with you. So that's another reason why I would raise even more.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a very strong point. Like a lot of people are debating it, but you made it seem very simple. I think it also probably depends on what you're building and who you're building it for. But I get 100% what you're saying.
And let me clarify one thing, because it's not. I'm not saying that that you always should raise capital.
Yeah.
It's in my case.
Yeah. And you're
because there are there are companies who actually maybe it's better, and also they are very horrible investors, very horrible investors, and I don't want to put percentages, but there are many horrible investors, I would say. Unfortunately, founders sometimes they don't have the luxury to choose investors, unfortunately, and that's one of the downsides here in the region. Unlike the US, where you have a huge market of VCs where you can pick and choose, here you cannot really. We were lucky that we could as Lucidya, but that's why I really sympathize with the founders who sometimes have bad investors, and sometimes they are forced to accept bad deals for them, the wrong governance, the wrong control on the company, and then they start to lose passion and do. Fortunately, we saw this in the market even recently with like successful companies. They're going out of business or they're reducing size because they brought in the wrong investors.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this path is not rosy. It's not great. It's not. This path has a lot of challenges. I was lucky that I got the chance to choose, and I chose right, basically. So if I went back in time with those people, with this, I would raise more.
You would do the same, yeah. Well, I'm lucky enough to have met some of your investors because you've introduced us to some of them, so I can speak to them being great people as well. We spoke about competition just now, right? So there's this concept of an unfair advantage, right? Have you heard about that concept before?
Yes.
How do you define it personally? How do you define it around Lucidya? How do you define it around your life and what you do and everything around it? How do you define an unfair advantage?
You mean what would be my unfair advantage?
Yeah.
And Lucidya's unfair advantage?
Yeah.
So for Lucidya is, again, we're lucky because we've been doing this for 10 years. Our unfair advantage is that over 10 years, we have collected more than 20 billion data points from our customers that we served across these years, from different companies, different verticals, all related to CX and customer service. So we are using this to make our AI model smarter. And no one can compete with us today because no one can buy these data. These data cannot be bought. This data can only build with time.
Yeah.
So that's our unfair advantage that we have today that no one actually can really replicate. In terms of me, Abdullah, my unfair advantage, I think I have I'm not going to say unfair advantages because there are people they have, but is basically which is can be a disadvantage, by the way. This is the fact that I have never ever worked in any company in my life. I've never experienced to work in a company except my companies,
You've
basically.
never
So
been an
I
employee?
was not employed. I've never been employed.
Sure.
Never been
Okay.
employee. Exactly. So that's
I did not know that. That's
that's
incredible. Wow. Okay. There's not a lot of people that can
yeah,
say that out
that's
there.
yeah. So that's can be advantage and disadvantages, obviously, and it's advantage because um, I had I had the luxury to start in clean slate, open canvas. I can, in terms of how to run companies, basically. I'm not influenced. Like if I worked in, for example, I don't know, GE, I would do things similar to GE point, which might be good, but for GE as a large company in that field, but not good for a startup. Which I see many founders fail because they come from corporate and they try to
Bring the
do
culture.
what they used to do in the corporate to startups, which is not the case, definitely. So that's the advantage that I had, and also I didn't have any manager, so I don't know what a good manager is and a bad manager is. So again, I had the ability to start from scratch, what a good manager should be, and I follow that good manager basically. So I'm not influenced by managers. I'm not influenced by so that's the unfair advantage. So I could be very kind of creative in my way of doing things. I can be very open. Of course, the disadvantage is you lack experience basically of dealing with people, with employees, with company, with structure, with governance, with
Yeah.
policies. I knew none of that really. So I had to learn all of that
Teach
and
yourself.
do all the mistakes. Yeah, and by mistakes, like I did a lot of mistakes, and this is why, again, the first company I told you I did all the mistakes because I did a lot of mistakes in policies and team management, even in hiring team. But then you learn. So that would be an unfair advantage. That can be a disadvantage as well.
The 20 billion data points that you mentioned earlier that Lucidya built up, right? Like you said, your competitive advantage came with time. So it wasn't baked in. It wasn't something that was there from the beginning. Do you think every great company needs or has an unfair advantage or needs one at all?
My humble philosophy about advantages and USPs is that you have is the following. I think you need to have sustainable competitive advantage. Sustainable meaning it stays for a very long time, if not forever. And I think that the best advantage that you can have is continuous, rapid innovation, especially in our field. If you can build a company that can master that, that would be a huge advantage. And I believe these are the most successful companies. They have that because things change, Frankie. Market change, consumer behavior change, regulation changes. Founders change, team change. A lot of things change. So, but if you can innovate fast, continuously, then you adapt continuously. You will be ahead of the competition continuously in whatever things. So that's, I know it's a more philosophical answer. It's not really concrete for founders out there listening, but if you build that way of doing things internally in the company, of mindset, of DNA in the company, then you'll come up with a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Not necessarily sustainable, but a competitive advantage for the next 1 or 2 years. Then you'll build another one for the other 2 years, and you will continuously do that.
How did you build that?
First of all, I would like to. I mean, I hope I built that. I like to think that we have this kind of mindset, but not necessarily, to be honest. And it's something that I always think about. That are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we not? How can I improve this? So, to answer you, I'm not sure if we actually do that or not. And if I would advise a company how they should do that and how we are thinking of these things is basically to be more of product-led company. So the products is actually leading the company in terms of uh, the strategy, decisions. I believe it should be thought and run from product perspective, not from market perspective or customer's perspective. What I mean by that is, if you build your company and you build based on basically what the customers today wants, you will build the past. You're not going to build the future. So you should always think about your product and where we want to go. That's one thing. And then you have to build internally the mindset of the team that can actually innovate in that front. So you first, as a strategy, as a company, you believe in what you're investing in should be innovation and product. And then internally in the company, you should allow them to fail. If one of the Lucidya employees listening to this podcast, they would know that in my welcoming message to every single employee in the company, there's a paragraph, or I'm right, I wrote about failing, is that there is no problem of you if you fail, it's fine. Do a mistake. But what's important is you learn from the mistake and you stand up again and you continue. So that mindset of that, it's okay that I do mistakes. It's okay that I fail. As long as I have a good intention, and also I want to that I learn. And that mindset, I think it's one of the most important parts of building an innovation-driven culture to do it. Now, of course, it's easy to write this.
Yeah.
To encourage the team, but then it's what do you do in terms of you really how do you in practice, like how you really encourage that? Because as you go and as you operate as a company, you would want to optimize, you would want to minimize mistakes, minimize errors. So you always need to remind yourself as a leader and your managers time to time that if things goes bad, fine. Let's not make a big deal out of it. Just encourage. Let's learn. Let's move on. So yeah.
Okay. Anything else to do? You mentioned some practical examples of how to do that and how to instill that in the team. What else do you do, or would want to do more around this?
One thing that I really wanted to do, like a new thing that we haven't done, and I want to try. I think we should try to do, is to allocate a small portion of my team's time for whatever that comes to their mind. Free time, basically. 20% of their time, for example, that can be for anything that they can build. Just to give them the freedom of doing something related to work, not related to work, learning things, drawing, whatever that you can. So basically, I think that will encourage people to especially the creative people, the people of the innovation already. It will give them the freedom to actually to innovate more. So that's something I want to do. We haven't done that before, and I want to do more of internal basically hackathons in the company. That would also help, especially if we do it in a way where it's cross-functional, not only one department, like the whole company together. I think this will unlock a lot of ideas, and to push people to innovate and to think about things differently.
Hackathons are awesome. I've been a part of a couple of them, and you can really, like, just working as a group of people together, trying to solve something, to hack it out. That brings the best out of people. I just want to go back to the kind of the 20% of their time, like work time, focusing on innovation or doing something different. What do you think? And again, I'm speaking to Abdullah Asiri, the planner, like someone who's able to see into the future. What do you think the value of that is going to be to Lucidya directly? Because at the end of the day, that's obviously what your investors are looking for, right? Is value. So how do you think that would lead to value? Just obviously, like throwing it out there, right? Because I know you haven't tried it yet. It's something you want to try. But what do you think is the value out of that?
Well, I really am not sure, but I hope that this will unlock potential in the company. This will make people think in a different way, make them more innovative, to bring different solutions to problems, to solve problems that we did not know that we can even solve. I hope, but the thing with innovation is it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And that's why it's wrong for me to have expectations. I can, we should give room and just, and that's it. Now, of course, 20% maybe too much of a person time, but I mean, it's like a time,
No,
a
I
time of
understand. Yeah, I
person.
understand.
Yeah. But yeah, so the hopefully will turn into like innovative ways of building relationship with customers, or solving internal processes, or innovation in whatever that can be. But yeah, and sometimes actually that by itself, if it did not help in innovation, it will definitely help in retention. So it will have its other basically
It's benefits.
benefits,
Yeah.
but yeah, and but yeah, that kind of freedom of doing what I want to do, and it might unlock.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to ask the question. Like, I was just thinking, what is the thinking behind that? But I want to talk about the region as well. Obviously, KSA, the GCC, MENA, it's a market that most of the world doesn't understand. And like you said earlier, each dialect also comes with a different region in a different country, etc. What is the superpower of founders who are from the region? Like, what do you think the superpower is that founders like you have, or founders from the region have?
I think it's very clear. I think the founders, in this region, they are persistent. They don't give up easily. Because you need to be that, otherwise you're not gonna be successful in this part of the world, when we have so many different challenges compared to even Europe. I'm not gonna say US. So yeah, so that's what I would say.
Yeah, there's something about the region though that's focused on relationship capital. You mentioned earlier, like you landed your first client, even though you guys didn't even have something that works, or a website even that really properly worked. How do you learn how to harvest that relationship capital as a young founder?
Well, first you need to build it, right? You need to build a proper network, a proper connection, and the best way to build these relationships is to be really candid, and to be really genuine with the people around you. Because if you're building relationships just for the sake of building relationships, and just for the sake of it becomes a transactional relationship, and that would be a turn off for people. So you need, if to build it genuinely, that's the first thing, and you need to invest in continuing this relationship by checking on the person from time to time, and and all that, so the obvious things. And now how you can use it is actually you would in my way is I'm a person who loves to help people. So usually I do the first favors. I usually help people, and then there will come time where maybe I seek help, and that person will remember what I did for them before, and then they will help. So this is one of the ways that would actually make things for you, would help you basically to basically benefit from your relationship. But again, don't think about the relationship as something transactional.
Yeah. You just took the
if
word
you
out
don't
of
like the
my mouth.
person, just ignore him.
Yeah.
If you don't like the person, just don't fake it, because if you fake it, it's obvious. You're not gonna look good. Don't fake it. If you don't like the person, just maybe there are other people who can help you basically.
I think people are just much more accessible. Like people are much more accessible and much more open to it, but you shouldn't be transactional. Like having a business relationship with someone in the region is not about transactional. What can I get from it immediately?
I think the number one skill that I would really be obsessed about is self-awareness. To be able to really understand myself. I think if a person understands himself, he can understand everyone. He can understand the universe even. I think he can understand. So you should start by understanding yourself very well. When I say that, what I mean by that is you need to understand why you feel certain ways when you feel, why you're angry from, these kind of things. Why you. So if you understand yourself very well, you would know what you want, what you really don't want. And then you can pick and choose the right path in your life based on those things, and you can, choose the right people around you and to avoid the wrong people, and basically to have a better life. So that
That's
skill.
the main one. Is that the only one? I didn't.
That's the main one. I think if you nail that, that's going to be amazing. And I say that because you ask about a skill that I wish I learned, because that skill I did not learn when I was younger. I learned that skill recently, like a few years ago. But when I was younger, I believe the skill set that I had were, good enough. Really, I'm really thankful that I was raised in a way that I had this skill set. I think one of the skills that I'm really grateful for when I was younger is actually time management. Um, Time management, because when you are young and you want to do a million things and you need a way to organize your life, and time management was a skill that I had. And another skill that I'm always grateful for that I had and I still have now, um, is I'm not sure if it's called skill or not, but it's being a good listener, that I listen more than I talk. Um, I'm not sure again if you call it skill or not skill, but it's a one thing. If it's a thing, and I think it's skills because you can actually improve it as well, and you can. So because if you listen more than you talk, you will learn more, basically. And when you are young, at that age in the 20s, you need to learn. You need to learn. Because in your 30s, when you really, really want to
That's
build.
why God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, is to listen more and talk less. Tell
Exactly.
me, how did you
Exactly.
learn self-awareness? You said you learned it recently. How did you learn it?
Well, it was basically, sometimes in life you hit rock bottom, and you hit, in terms of your, I would say, the way that you look at happiness, I would say. When you reach there, you then ask yourself the difficult questions. So that's what happened, when you move very fast. I've been a CEO for like now what, for 14, 15 years, founder and CEO, continuously, hustling, running, 15 years nonstop. And before that, and during these 15 years when I was the CEO and founder, I did two masters. So I went to school as well while building companies, and I finished and did school. And before that, I was also running all the time when I was doing my bachelor as well in my undergrad. So you you race in this life
Mm.
without pausing, and you reach a place where you actually forget why you actually in the race, why you're here, why you're in this track. You forget because you've been only doing and doing and doing, and not really kind of reflecting on why I'm doing that. So when you actually started to be far, or to be away from your true identity of your true self, because you've been on autopilot for too long, that you actually start to see, like, actually why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that. So, and that would cause, basically, I think it would cause some kind of sadness or depression, what you call. So it makes you not really happy when you be in autopilot for too long and racing and kind of. So that's when I came across a book, actually. And again, like those times were really difficult times in my life. And one time I was in Virgin Mega Store just to buy a gift for my younger brother, and the intention was not to buy a book, but then there was a book that really attracted me. Like, it was there, just asking me to pick it, and I saw the book, and I saw the title. I was like, you know what? I don't know the author. I don't know the book. And I never do this, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything I do is intentional. Like, every restaurant I go, I check Google Maps. Every book I could do reviews. That book I did not know anything about. I was like, okay, this book
Mm.
wants me to read it. That's how I felt. I picked the book, I bought it, and then I read it, and it was part of, you know, it's what was the starting point of changing the way I think about things. And that's when I paused. And actually, the book name is Stillness is the Key. And that I think it attracted me because that's what I wanted the most at that time of my life, is stillness, because I was running so fast for very long. So I read the book, and that opened things in my mind, and I started to do self discovery for hours, okay, a day. And I had to travel to get away from Saudi. I went to Barcelona with my family. I stayed there for 2 months to be away from everything, and I started to do this self-reflection, which really opened up a lot of things, and it made me a much better version of myself, because you now understand. So you now can really know how to be a better person, how to be happier, how to do things in the way that you really want, not doing the things because it's only because you've been doing it for a very long time. Now you do things with a real purpose. So yeah, so
Was there
that's
a
it.
moment where you started, like, was there a moment that something specific happened that made you feel that way in the first place? Was it something that happened, or was it just kind of meant to be at that stage? What caused it? What is the ignition to it?
I think it's accumulation of life, really, of hardships, of the things that you go through in life. And again, as you can imagine, as a founder, a CEO of a company, I've been in so many lows in my life, career-wise, even personal life as well. People sometimes they see from the outside, they think that if a person has a family and kids, he has, but one of the traumas in my life, I lost a kid, and not only I lost, I had to bury the kid with my hands,
I, I've,
and
um,
that's
sorry, Abdullah, I didn't know that. But
yeah, I
do
know,
you?
I know, but I know, but that's why I say that things like this, it happens. I lost one of my closest friends when I was, so these things they pile up, and again as a person, I'm in this race. I don't really sit and reflect and digest and go through the sadness. Things happen. I get sad for a day or two, and then I go up again and I run. I run fast, and I start to get myself busy with work, so I don't think about these kind of things, which is wrong, right? You need to live through the sadness. It's fine. It's just an emotion that's. So I think it's piling
Yeah.
up all these things, where it reaches a stage where I'm not gonna say I couldn't take it anymore, because I was living my life. I was working, and like I did not stop, I did not break. But I think I was tired, with all these kind of emotions, and things that not really processed very well. Um,
Do you mind me asking when did this happen? Losing a child?
yeah, it's fine. It's in
I'm so sorry to
2019,
hear that.
in
I'm
summer of
incredibly sorry to
2019.
hear that, Abdullah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, it's all right. This is life, and this is um, I have no other expectations from life other than it's gonna be ups and downs, and we have to understand this. We have at each low, you will know there's a high. At each high, you should expect there will be a low, so you
Mm.
don't be surprised. You just need to be
Grateful of the way.
grateful of the lows and highs, because this is, yeah, because this is life, and this is where this is how I learned the hard way that to be happy in life, you just need to lower your
Mm.
expectation a little bit. You need to manage your expectation. You need to know that there will be tough times. Tough times are coming. You
Mm.
don't wait for them. You don't look for them, but you expect that they will come eventually. And when they come, you would know that okay, if they come, now
Yeah.
good times will come. So I just need to just a matter of time until things will go by, and then good times will come. And when you have this mindset, you'd be less worried about the future. You'll be less sad about the present, and you'll be less. angry about the past, because you know that this is the way that everyone lived in this earth went, through these experiences, and this is actually how we built ourselves as a people. How this is how you got, you get the thick skin. This is how you get the skills to cope, the skills to and yeah, and today I'm grateful. I have 4 kids. I'm really grateful for. I so God take things and gives other things, and I'm really I'm sure that this is for the best, and
Yeah.
this is khira,
Man, I can't tell
basically.
you how grateful I am for you to share that so openly with me. Like you and I have had so many conversations, and it feels like this is our kind of our deepest conversation ever, which is weird, like in this setting. So thank you so much for sharing that so openly with me. Thank you, Abdullah. I really appreciate the trust.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Welcome. Welcome. And the reason actually I'm saying this publicly is, again, uh, I want the listener to know that in any time you go through tough times in your life,
Mhm.
there are other peoples who've been through these tough times. When you see an example or you see someone successful, don't think that
No.
their lives are easy. Don't think that they're not
Mhm.
going through tough times. They go through the tough times. And for me sharing this publicly is, again, is to tell people that I went through tough times, and I'm sure that everyone is, and this is normal. And you have
Yeah.
just to pull through. You have to just to continue, and life continues, and you have to appreciate
Yeah.
what you have today. Some things you will lose, unfortunately. Some things that will you'll gain, or new things in your life in the future. So you should be
Yeah,
always
absolutely.
hopeful.
And be grateful at the same time as well. Yeah, I've never told you this about me, but my mom lost, well, me and my mom, I guess, lost my sister as well. I was just much younger, and I actually told her quite recently, like, because I see Brene, my co-founder, with his boy Titus, and I see how Ali is with the boy, and I know my mom and I were equally as close, or maybe even closer, because she was a single mother. And I told her, like, I have no idea how you went through that. Like, I have no idea how you were able to raise me and go through that at the same time. Like, I'm just so incredibly impressed by what a strong woman she is, and obviously was in that moment. And I'm
Very,
incredibly proud of you, man, for everything you've done at the same time as going through all of this stuff. Like it sounds crazy to say it out loud. Like everything isn't great all the time. Like everything isn't a win all the time. But I mean, hearing about this, like I'm incredibly proud of you for what you've built and what you've become throughout that time. Yeah, you should be incredibly proud of yourself, and yeah, you should be incredibly proud of yourself.
thank you. And she raised a strong man,
I
your
appreciate
mother,
that. I'll tell
and
her.
she's
I'll
strong.
send her the link.
Yeah. Yes, please,
Awesome.
please do
Abdallah,
so.
I want to ask one last question, and this is more for me personally, but you said you learned self awareness, and I know a book is awesome. Books are great, and that book clearly helped you a lot, and I'm definitely going to pick it up as well. How else did you teach yourself self awareness? Like, what else would you say practically that a person like myself can do to learn self awareness to that level?
I usually give advice in topics that I really know. I don't know really, so I don't want to say things that I'm not really confident
Talk about you.
about.
Talk
So I
about
really
you.
don't
Like,
know.
yeah.
For me, basically, is pausing and asking myself. I am asking myself all the questions that I usually don't ask. That that especially in extreme situations, like when I'm very happy, I ask myself, like, "Oh, okay, what made me this happy?" And then I go deeper. Okay, because I did that. For example, because maybe like I had an ice cream. Okay, why this ice cream? And then I ask all these questions to know exactly the roots and cause of this happiness. I do the same thing when I'm angry. I do the same thing when I'm sad. I do the same thing when I'm unsure. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes I don't know, like I'm not really myself. And then I ask myself why I'm not myself. And I pause and I start to think why I'm not. Sometimes I write on my phone, especially when sometimes I'm really, really angry or stressed or depressed, but I'm not sure why. I just pull up my notes. I put my headphones, and then I because to block the noise, and then I just write things that I'm not comfortable with, and then I find why I'm not comfortable, what give me this, and then for this thing, I write basically why this is not a big deal, why this is just, we shouldn't be angry and depressed about this. And then I write the reason why this is not significant, and then I write solutions, how can I make this better. Then I feel good. So this is kind of self-therapy that I do with myself when I'm at this situation, and this helps me to
Yeah.
understand myself.
I feel as though most people feel as they don't have time because they're in that rush, in that going fast stage, which you were talking about earlier. But it's so important to self-reflect. It's something I also put off all the time. There's this funny Bill Burr joke about just locking everything up and putting it in the cabinet for later, like to deal with later, putting it in a jar and putting it in the cabinet. But I will definitely be focusing on that.
Yeah, and it's not easy, Frankie, today with smartphones. I'm telling you, I know I sound like an old man, but really, like with smartphones in your hand, like 20 years ago, before smartphones, when you walk up the stairs, you would walk up the stairs, and sometimes you think, because today you walk up the stairs with your phone in your hand and you're browsing, and then when you're waiting for a taxi, you'll pick up, you look at the phone. So today with smartphones, you're not giving your brain and your mind a time, a stillness time, a time to pause. You always are engaging yourself and your thoughts, and you're always thinking about driving things, but you're not are just saying and just staring at nothing and letting your mind really drive the thinking. And this doesn't happen with the technology today, which is a problem, really a huge problem. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not facing it. I'm facing the similar problem, and it's not easy for me to pause and think, by the way, but I try to force myself to do this. One of the things that I really want to master, but I still couldn't, hopefully one day, which is meditation, to meditate on a daily basis. I believe this is some kind of an exercise for the mind, how to control your thoughts. It's just like exercising in your physical body, is exercising your way of controlling your thoughts. And if you do this every day, you would be so. Again, it's don't feel bad because you're not so alone. Everyone is like this. It's because of technology. It's because of smartphones and the way that they're built, and the apps that chases you and to
Yeah.
chase your attention for dopamine dosage and all. But yeah, it's a hard fight for us to basically to be in that stillness.
Not to go too deep into this, but I know obviously you have 4 kids, you have a wife, you've got a business, you've got a massive team behind you. I know how much you like to exercise, to stay healthy and fit. How do you kind of, well, actually, let me change the question. What is the one thing in your life that gets less time than it actually deserves right now?
I would say fitness. Yeah, I mean, yes, I go to the gym, but it's not every time, right? It's on and off. I would love to keep that going. Also hobbies. Actually, that's actually number one. Hobbies. I believe that as a person, you should set some time for your hobbies. And I'm not doing enough of that.
Sorry, you were busy talking about FIFA, and I was very interested because I recently learned how to play FIFA.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I
Yes,
recently learned.
amazing game. Yeah. So yeah, but not as much as before, really. Like that would be a hobby. Another hobby would be coloring. Not
Yeah, you
not
told me
drawing,
about
but
this.
coloring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that as well. And most recently, I started to write like stories, like novels, and so these are like my current hobbies.
Yeah, current hobbies that you focus on. Awesome. Abdullah, I want to take it back to some practical things before we close this off. Um, Tougher questions, I guess, but more practical things for founders. The first thing is founders' salaries. That's something we get a lot of questions about. For some reason, as recruiters, founders feel to ask us, like, what should they pay themselves? What's your opinion about founders' salaries? Like, it's something that people don't often speak about. What's your opinion on it? and then I want to ask some more questions about it.
Yeah, so founder salaries, it's a very important topic because founders they should not worry about anything except their business. Meaning
Mm.
they should not worry about their life, their financial commitments and needs, and they be distracted by the bank chasing them or the family needs and all. They should only worry about the company. So they should be compensated to in a way that doesn't it's not an issue. Number one. Number two, also they should be compensated also fairly, especially when they are investors in the company. So now he's not working for himself only, but he working also for investors. So he should be relatively fairly because he has shares in the company. So the framework is the following: each stage has uh, different way to compensate yourself as a founder in terms of salary. If the company is doing very well, like it's a high growth company, you reach a stage, you are paying your executives, you have executives number one, and you're paying them fairly in the market. So if you have the ability to do that, then you should pay yourself fairly as well. I mean, you don't need to pay yourself as a CEO of bank, but you pay yourself in a way that makes sense for someone at your. If you would replace you, if you would bring a CEO to replace you
Mm.
and doing the same job as you, how much you would pay that person, basically. So to be fair
Yeah.
with the company, to be fair with yourself. But that's when you reach that stage. But at the beginning, because it's just you, probably don't have a lot of cash, then you have to be careful. You don't
Mm.
want to spend the much precious resource of the company, which is cash, on you. You want to spend that on basically to bring more businesses, to bring more customers by building
Yeah.
product or. So you need to balance that. How it depends on a lot of things, but you need to make sure that you're compensated in a way that it fits your basic needs, at least knowing this is going to be short term, this is going to be a year or 2 years, and you have to know that, and you have to be comfortable as well that you're going to be paying yourself this amount for a year or two, so that you arrange your priorities, your commitment before you start a business. Actually, you need to have this
Yeah.
thinking. So yeah, and then you go gradual. So when you start, you pay yourself, this way, and then you start gradually increasing your salary bit by bit, until you reach a stage where I just explained at the beginning, where you are paid fairly. If someone
Mm.
is replacing you, you would pay him that amount more or less.
Is there a calculation for first-time founders that you've seen working or that you've used before, or is it really just about the circumstance?
Purely circumstance, purely. As it depends. Like if you are, for example, if you are well off as a person, then you don't need to pay
Yeah.
yourself actually. And if you have commitment with loans, bank, then you need to make sure that's covered. So it's a lot of things. And also if you're funded versus not funded, if you're solo founder versus other founders, are they getting paid or not getting paid? Are you doing it part time or are you doing full time? So a lot of circumstances. And if you're not sure, again, Claude, ChatGPT, or mentor, or ask someone that
That you
but
trust.
these yes,
Mm.
these are one of the things that you need to get right. You need to don't assume, validate your assumptions basically for this, just to be fair with yourself, and you don't, and also you don't want to overpay yourself, or the company actually needs the money the most. So to balance
Mm.
this, just get an opinion, second opinion.
Yeah. I know you've got a very interesting compensation type structure, mostly focused on a performance type bonus. Is that something you'd recommend to other people as well?
For founders,
Yeah, for founders.
uh, so for founders, I believe they should be focusing more on their share value, really. And in
Mm.
terms of bonus, they don't. Bonus is fine if you are not paid. I would say fairly. Then you might structure your salary like a modest one, and then a bonus that if you achieve certain things, so you can keep yourself motivated. You can do that
Yeah,
definitely. This is what I'm
that's
doing.
what I'm asking. Yes.
Yeah, this is, you keep yourself motivated, you keep yourself like so, and also so that you don't feel bad, or you don't feel and you, so that when you get this money, you feel that you really deserve this money.
Mm.
And it's and also it's fair for the company that you achieve these milestones as well, because even if you're a solo founder or just founders, always separates yourself from the company in a way that you treat the company as a public listed company. That there are a lot of people that they have the right in the company, even if it's only you. This is the best way you practice basically being avoiding conflict of interest, basically practicing being in a way that you're fair
Responsible.
to everyone, responsible. Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. Abdullah, if someone is listening to this, hopefully someone is listening to this that's sitting on an idea, someone in Riyadh or Jeddah or anywhere in the kingdom, what are the actual first steps that you believe they should take when they start a venture in KSA?
To call Frankie, to get him talent, to find him talent. It's the first thing. After
First step,
that,
all right.
um, so the first thing that they do would be always the first thing is if you have an idea that you want to really to execute, study your customers very well. Understand your customer. Don't assume, validate, meet, talk to your customers all the time. And this is something you guys did amazingly, by the way, Frankie, really, when you started your Mawhoop. You were engaged with me. You remember, daily, weekly. Are you guys satisfied? Okay, is it now better? And you're asking, and you're trying to learn, genuinely trying to learn. And so start with the customer, understand him very well, and understand the problem very well. Be obsessed, as they say, with the problem as much as possible. Understand the competitive landscape, the market, the dynamics, because you're jumping into a swimming pool, for example. You want to understand that, what's the depth of swimming pool, how many people are with you, understand all that before you jump, actually. And then call Frankie.
What do you think is the thing people waste their most amount of time on? So in the first 6 months, what do most people waste a lot of time on?
I am not sure. Because it's been a while since I started, company, and I'm not really involved with the early stage founders, unfortunately, as much as possible. But from what I understand, from what I know, at least from the people that I meet, is there are people who spend so much time in perfecting their product, and this is a problem that I made in my first company. We spent a year and building an app. It's too much. So that would be something that is, I think, to answer the question, that is something that I think most founders, or maybe big number of founders, are wasting their time on. Just have an MVP, throw it to the market. Most likely you'll change a lot of things either way. Just so, fail fast. Fail fast. Not necessarily failing the whole startup, but at least this MVP, if it's not good, just make sure that's not good fast, so we can pivot and change very, very fast.
That's where the work with the customer and communicating with customers the whole time comes in. You'll know immediately what's right or what's wrong. What do you think is the thing that stops most talented people in the region from starting?
I think one of the reasons is maybe they are afraid that they fail, so they don't want to be looked at as failures, people who failed. Especially if they're talented, that means that they are successful. That means people are, they see them as successful. They don't fail. They get things right, and all that. Maybe they're scared that they don't want to fail because they're not used to failing. Maybe they're too competitive. They don't want to fail. And the solution for this is just a bit tweak to the mindset that, actually, there is nothing called failure unless you give up. That, if things doesn't work out, just a step to success. If you think about it this way, that, it's not failure, it's just, something I did wrong in my way of the success, that would make them think differently. And the fact that, almost every successful person in the world, they failed multiple times, and I'm sure that they continuously fail in like even me and Lucidya, for example. Lucidya is a successful company, but sometimes we have failed initiatives or failed projects. It happens.
Mm.
So I think the mindset that failure is just part of the journey to be successful.
Yeah. One thing I try and teach myself is to just zoom out. Like, there's always these old graphs of like investments, or let's say the S&P, where if you zoom in really deep, it looks like the S&P, as an example, is just going down. But if you take that backwards, you zoom out, you keep zooming out, you can see that even though there's this, there's much more of this happening in any case. And that's the kind of the analogy that I try and teach myself as well. Because as a founder myself, like, you tend to sometimes wear your heart on your sleeve, and you feel failure really hard because it leads to real things in your company and to the people that you're responsible for and the people that work with you. So being open to failure is probably one of the best things you can learn. We spoke
Yes.
about earlier kind of the main skills that you would teach yourself. What are the main skills you look for in someone when you're hiring them? Like, off of a CV, what are the main top three things you look for when you hire someone?
For me, passion is very important because if someone is passionate, that's the fuel, right? That's the fuel for the person. So he's full of fuel, basically. He has the energy to continue and to build things. So that's number one, uh, very important for me. Number two is uh, a listener, someone who listens as well, because again, as we mentioned during um, this talk, is that again we are going towards uncharted territory. Not everyone know what they're doing actually, so they need to listen, they need to adopt, they need to
Yeah.
so a listener. So the people who talk so much in interviews, that means that they don't listen much. Now there's a thin line. Sometimes there are people who are talking too much because they want to show their capabilities. So you need to sometimes you need to really
Balance.
separate. And then so that's number two. Third one, discipline. Discipline for people working in Lucidya, and with me especially, discipline is very important because I'm a very very disciplined guy, and also as Zohair, maybe you saw that as well. Our co-founder is very, and and as a company, as a scale up, like we're moving very 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 fast, and in this race, you cannot be undisciplined. You have to be disciplined.
Mm.
You have to be disciplined, and to be able to move fast, to be able to achieve what you need to achieve. You cannot be you have to have so much discipline and to be self-motivated as well, to be actually that disciplined. So these are the things I would look for.
Absolutely. Is there something someone can say or do in the first 5 minutes of an interview that tells you kind of immediately whether you want to hire them or not?
If someone is talking bad about their past in companies, I would not continue the interview. I would continue just for the sake of the other person, but that my decision is
Yeah.
made, um, because that shows bad qualities of the person, whether
Mm.
that's true or wrong. But the fact that you're sharing this, especially in the first 5 minutes, that's not really a good
Yeah.
indicator of the personality. So
Yeah.
that would be a turn off.
Crazy. It's crazy that you said that because you and I have had that experience before. One of the
You did?
first roles we hired for together. Yeah, way back when.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to
Interesting.
mention the role in case
Yeah, no,
the
no.
person
After, yeah,
watches.
after this conversation, I need to tell him.
Yeah,
But yeah. So that would be the thing that would make me decide immediately.
that's the only thing. Is there anything else someone could say or do in the first 5 minutes?
To make me not choose the
Yeah,
person.
or to choose
Uh,
them. It could also be the other way around, like to choose them as well.
to choose is very hard because I'm very selective and I'm very picky
Mm.
when it comes to the people I work with and choose. So I need to be really, really, really convinced and have a very high bar. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe you know this already, and so that I need to really make sure that the person, from personal skills, technical skills, and everything in between, that they fit. But yeah, quick rejection would be basically that one thing I told you about. Another thing would be uh, I think that's what comes to my mind because look, one thing life taught me is not to judge a book by its cover. And sometimes, again, when you say 5 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes doesn't do the other person justice. Maybe they're
Mm.
too nervous. Maybe they did not express themselves in the right way, and it happens. So usually I give chances. Like, I say, okay, let me hear them out. I will go back to that point later. I'll zoom in later. But if someone talks bad about their past employer, I don't think there's an excuse for that at all, really, because that
Mm.
shows a lot of bad qualities.
Yeah, I think I won you over in the first 5 minutes with that Lucidya Malhub co-branded T-shirt that I brought you as a gift.
It's a
Our
really nice
branding in the
gift.
beginning was terrible. Yeah, but I know you liked it, so
Yes, yes.
yeah. Tell me if you could send one message to the next generation of founders in KSA, someone who would be watching this. What would you say to them?
I would say that uh, you know you should be grateful. You are in the right country, in the right time, and if you're starting your company, then uh, that's the best place to start a company. I believe in the whole MENA region, and this is the best time. So you should be encouraged, but also you should manage your expectations very well. You should know that it's not going to be an easy ride. It's going to be a tough one, real tough one. But a lot of people made it or making it, so you can as well. But you need to understand there will be so many highs and lows in the trip that makes you sometimes think again or rethink or doubt yourself. I doubted
Yeah,
myself a lot in the past 15, 16 years. I doubted myself a lot that, is this the right path for me? Is this the right company? Is this the right career? Is this right? And it's okay to have these self-doubts. It's again, you're human. Sometimes you see your peers in doing, better. Uh, so you'll have these moments of self-doubts. Again, remember that everyone had these moments as well. And that's why when you start your business, try as much as possible. Try to solve a problem that you're passionate about, because you'll have fun then. That would be your energy and fuel
mm,
to make you go through the whole journey, because you're passionate about either the problem or even the solution. Um, um, so yeah.
awesome. Thank you, Abdullah. And with regards to Lucidia, where is Lucidia going from here? Where are you guys going to be in 5 years if everything goes as planned?
5 years. Uh, Hopefully, we would reach my really my dream, which is building a company from Saudi that serve customers from east to west in the world. So a customer with a company with global presence from China to the US and in between, and a company that actually that's inspiring. That a company that inspires people to to follow the similar path,
Mm.
to do similar success. Hopefully, and hopefully, I would see um, many successful startups from former employees of Lucidya. I already
Yeah.
started to see that. There are a few companies that I see that former employees of Lucidya founded, which I'm so proud of, and I hope in 5 years I also see these companies grow and flourish.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. One of those people are actually a client of ours, so it's
Ah,
amazing.
good,
Yeah. Where will
great.
you be in 5 years, Abdullah, if everything goes as planned? Where do you see yourself?
5 years definitely in Saudi. I would be in Saudi
Mm.
physically. I would be definitely running Lucidia. I love Lucidia. It's a love story, and hopefully never ending love story. I would be still running Lucidia, and yeah. Hopefully then I would. Hopefully then I would figure out basically the best way to balance everything in my life in the best possible way.
Yeah.
I admit, when it comes to wheel of life, you see all these things that you try to balance. Um, you know, I haven't got it figured out yet, balancing, health, family, hobbies, and all these kind of things. Hopefully, 5 years, I'll be in a place where I can, gladly say, I figured out how to balance those things. So yeah.
Awesome. And finally, Abdullah, where can people find you, follow Lucidya, and kind of stay in the loop and follow the rest of the journey?
Definitely LinkedIn. We are very active on LinkedIn, on the Lucidity account. I am active also on LinkedIn. I share what we do there. I used to be active in Twitter or X, but not so much anymore. So
Mm.
LinkedIn is the place where they should connect with me so they can learn and I can learn from their journey and
Awesome.
experiences.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Abdullah. You've shared so many insights, so much about yourself. I believe it's going to add a lot of value to a lot of people. If it doesn't,
Hopefully.
it added a lot of value to me. And I really
Thank you.
appreciate it, man. I can't thank you enough. And this is exactly what I hoped for, to have this kind of conversation with someone as amazing as you and as inspiring as you. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Welcome, thank you. You made it actually successful yourself. You made it easier because you are such a great host, Frankie. You ask a lot of questions. You're a good listener, and also the fact that you are a really really great friend of mine that I really respect you made this conversation a great one. I enjoyed it myself. I enjoyed having this conversation with you, answering all these smart questions, and yeah, and I really hope that even if one answer that can help one founder, I would be happy. And I really hope these answers find their way to some people's hearts to 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 be a story to tell
Mm.
to a new generation, to be a successful story themselves.